Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Chasing the Whimsy. I am Ben and I'm here with
Liam.
How you doing, Liam?
Good. Socials?
What have you been doing this week? No. Let's get into this real quick.
Oh,
What have you been doing this week?
Not answering your calls.
Still, I'm like, hey man. But on your calendar, you still get the alert, right? Every Wednesday?
Yeah.
He's like, nope. So, I'm like, because what are we supposed to do on Wednesdays?
Call each other and plan.
Figure out what the episode is going to be about, right?
Yes.
All right. So you didn't text me, no phone call. I do get random alerts.
I sent you the one app you told me that you. We'll get into that another episode.
This kid's killing me. Like, I don't ask that much of you, and I know that you're busy, and I try to defend you all day. So today's going to be a pretty fun episode. So depending on whatever happens, if you don't like it, you're screwed because you should have called me on Wednesday.
Okay.
So what have you been doing this week? What do you do post wrestling career?
Go home, play games with friends, I guess, and then fall asleep.
And you can't text me once in between any of all that busy stuff?
No.
It's not like, oh man, now that we're not wrestling, we got baseball, we got Model UN, we got whatever, fixing a truck with somebody, like nothing, just don't want to. Did you listen to last week's episode with JJ?
Oh.
You should listen to it. I listened to it on the way home after dropping you off on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then I listened to it again on Thursday right before I posted it.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Really?
Yeah, you and JJ. That was probably my favorite you and JJ episode ever. Like you guys were like
Good
rock
chemistry.
stars. Yeah, JJ's like really like he's calmed down a little bit and he's really kind of opened up, open to a little bit more ideas and more. He's getting better at conversation. So such a fun episode. I don't like because like we're like 15 episodes in.
Jeez.
And it's like Liam sucks. He's not creative and he's not this and he's just like he doesn't text me.
Uh-huh.
But again, like when the mics are live, man.
Yeah. I pull through, don't I?
Right? And that's why there's a producer. You let the talent talk and you let dad and the producer just figure everything else out and make it look good. So this week
No, we gotta do our socials.
oh, let's do our socials. All right, pop quiz. Twitter.
Isn't it
Chase the Whimsy.
Chase the Whimsy.
I'm slowly getting more on Twitter.
Because you're more, if you look at our Instagram at just Chasing the Whimsy,
Jason the Whimsy.
you got a lot of pick stuff going on there with Aunt Nikki, and last week,
Yeah, we put some stuff up.
yeah, we got more coming this week.
Oh, that's gonna be exciting.
And I think by the time this episode's posted, we'd already have another Whimsy.
Yes.
So make sure you go like that. We don't know what it is yet.
We don't know what it is, but it's gonna be fun stuff. We'll get into last weekend. You trying to play Instagram? It was amazing. What else? We got YouTube. What are we on YouTube?
Just Chasing the Whimsy.
Boom.
First 10 episodes on there, you said, right?
First 10 episodes are up there. Just the audios right now. But we have been talking about possibly doing some more
Gaming.
some gaming content that we can throw on there. So we're just trying to figure out how to record some gameplay. Because I know we wanted to jump into some video games. I know JJ would like to
Yes.
play some games with us, and I think even if it's just you playing Fortnite, I think it'd be cool just to record that
And
and then Q&A
yeah.
and get some of them. What are those super dollars?
Okay, Dad.
What's what are they?
It's
Super chats.
It's just called donations.
Yeah, but on YouTube,
So no,
it's,
there's a thing called super chat. You pay like $5
Yeah.
to go on the super chat.
yeah. What did I call it?
Super buck.
Super bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how much.
Well, that's what it's called now.
That's what it's called now. I'm gonna call YouTube.
But let's get into the main idea of today's
All right.
episodes and Thursdays.
All right. So, what was the original reason you wanted to do the podcast?
To have conversations. That was you, but me
Yeah.
just wanted to talk. I wanted because Tesdy just wanted to talk about random things with my dad.
No, it wasn't. It was more
Yes,
like,
it was.
No, but you had a deeper issue. Like, why are we interviewing Nikki, Rhiannon?
So I can know more about this side of the family.
There we go. So, I like the idea. I was like, Liam, because like again, I turned 40, and I'm just like realizing I'm gonna die soon, and it's just like I'm old. I don't know anything about these people. Liam's like, you are, and I don't know anything about these people. So
Nothing at all. I didn't know Rhiannon like traveled so many places
I
until.
didn't either.
Oh.
It was a good time.
Oh.
So along the same ideas is like you get to talk to all of my family, and we've mentioned that you have a whole other family
Yes.
during the week with your mom and David and grandmas and
Little hint.
so like I always thought it would be cool to like let's start intermingling because we hang out some.
No, don't say something at all. Rarely you guys talk, like at all.
Yeah,
Really?
that's gonna change today. Do you know why?
Why?
I got a guest here today. I'm in the mood for a new best friend.
Okay.
I'm looking for new friends.
Okay.
You might know this guy.
What?
Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm great.
And what is your name today, sir?
My name today is David.
Perfect. And what relation do you have? Why are you on this podcast today? Who are you related to?
I am the stepdad.
Woot woot.
And our social interactions have mainly consisted of assistance with your vehicles so far. That's
so funny.
kind of been most of the social interactions so far.
I know zero about this guy. For the most part, a stand-up guy. I have no problems with him. But yes, the only handful of times I've ever talked to him was my car broke down, and my battery died, and my trunk latch
Right
broke.
in the front yard of our
Like,
house.
And so,
Well, we got like what, a couple topics to go over today. Well,
you're rushing us, man.
No.
We're here for a while, man. We're going the distance today. We got mom in the corner. We got Katie.
ooh, are you gonna come on, Mom?
Who knows?
I think-
only had one Alani.
I think today we're just going to talk about like the things that we like and don't like about Katie and the things that we.
Oh, it's gonna go on for a long time.
Oh man, this is going to be like a 6-parter. No,
Wow.
no, David. Thank you for coming on. Thank you. This has always been kind of a goal for me. Liam hinted at it a little bit, but I like the idea of just not every week. Well, we're gonna be best friends, so it will be every weekend. But I like the idea of just getting to know the other side.
Yeah,
and
and
this
something I asked to everybody is, literally every podcast I think we've interviewed is, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Every time, the same thing.
Well, because and this is a good one because I have absolutely no idea.
He's
anything
got
about this
stories for days. I
guy. I'm waiting
mean,
for him to be like, I once killed a man.
many times almost.
It's like I almost killed a man and I was arrested for smuggling drugs and guns.
Okay.
We have to consider the statute of limitations here.
Ooh,
for
all right.
some
Okay.
of these stories.
All right, so we can talk about anything post or pre like 99.
Or maybe we could just call it a story and not really say
Oh.
that it was me.
A friend that I know.
A friend of a friend.
Yeah,
A
this
friend of a friend was involved in this, and
I
I'll
was-
just share this information.
I was
with
watching a YouTube video about a guy who happened to be doing something.
you. Most of these stories originated from the early 90s, so a lot of things are not. It's all on microfiche.
Nice.
Okay, so
So
tell
we're good.
tell us a little.
No,
Wait, no,
we're,
no.
we're just gonna we're going distance on this one.
We're
man.
cruising?
We're gonna cruise. How old are you?
No comment.
Okay.
Are you older than 40?
I am at the age now where sometimes I actually have to think about how old I am. So I am tipping the scales at 52 years old.
Holy cow!
You didn't know he was
52.
52?
I had no idea he was 52. I thought he was like
52.
44, 45. What
Yeah,
is he doing over there?
He
I'm a late model with low mileage.
Oh, very
That's
cool.
what I like to say.
Oh, 52. That's perfect. Because you're hard into the Gen X, so you grew up
Yes,
in the 80s
yeah,
and
I
90s.
am. I am fully embedded as a Gen Xer.
Very cool.
we did take a trip this summer, right? We went to New York. Where else did we go?
We kicked it old school back to the homeland of New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey. We were talking about it in the car, and he said he got a little like subject, like a subject for it, and we could do this with Kelly and Megan too if they ever want to come on it.
Ooh, because they're Jersey residents.
We call it Stories from Jersey.
Wow.
Well, that's you
That's like-
guys came up with that in the car.
Yeah.
We need a nice name for the segment. All right, New Jersey and stories. Done. That's how Liam works. I don't know if you know this. That's how Liam works. He's just like New Jersey stories. Good night. We're gonna go play some
Jersey
games.
It's no, not New Jersey. It's Jersey stories,
Jersey.
like Jersey Shores, but like
right.
stories.
All right. So
We'll probably have to think of a better name for that, though, but we'll work on that.
yeah. So you grew up born in New Jersey?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Very cool. Nice. When'd you move on to this side of the world?
I moved to Arizona in 2002.
Oh,
2002.
all right. So you spent the first half over there.
Pretty much. We're closing in on half and half. I'm not in a rush to get there, but we are closing in on half and half.
All right. Well, Liam's always been real big. He's like, we gotta talk about David's stories.
Well, because he's got a lot. He's got fun ones.
Right, he's 52 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You would think you'd accumulate a couple of stories. over
Dude, this
that.
man doesn't look 52. I mean,
He gets so many comments about that. I mean,
I move like I'm 62,
okay.
and I'm like, I'm falling apart. I'm a mess. This guy's well kept. He's lost 50 pounds. Oh my god.
But
Look at
So,
this man, he's my best friend. This is all it's going to be. The whole episode is just going to be like, you're amazing.
We can actually discuss that. So the weight loss.
All right.
If you guys are okay.
I'm
with
all
that.
about it.
The
Let's-
reasoning for the weight loss. So at the age of being 52 and being the stepdad of a 13-year-old and the bio dad of a 6-year-old, I find in my opinion, think it's selfish in a way for me to not take care of myself because I have to be here for a period of time.
Oh,
You
you taking
So-
a shot at me?
No. You're a lot younger than me, so. But if you do math, and
Yeah.
I'm not here to do any math.
no, I told you, I hit 40
when you're
and
52.
all of a sudden-
Yeah, no, it does. It
It's
hits
just,
you.
it's like,
50 will hit you a lot harder.
Oh,
though.
man.
I guarantee you that 50 is one of those things where because you come to the realization that 40 you're kind of like, all right, I'm at the midway point.
Right.
When you're 50, you're like, all our days are numbered, but when you're 50, they really become numbered. So
Right.
then you start thinking, all right, well, if I'm lucky as a male, I got another 30 years left in me. And then you think, so basically the weight loss and maybe eating better
All
is
right.
increasing those chances of existing for as long as possible.
right.
As long as possible.
Well, and I get it. I think recently, because I've worked 2 jobs for going on 13 years. Yeah, forever. And I get into this routine of just work, sleep, work, Liam, sleep, work, take him to school, whatever. So when we hit 40, probably a little bit more, even last year, we were going to attempt to move. So Liam and I really started looking at like I wanted to start spending more time. So that's where I started with the move. Liam and I, we've always been, very close, but then the idea of this was the only house he's ever known and that we were going to move. So as we were cleaning stuff out in the
hurt me.
garage, yeah, he's like, Dad, we can move, but I want a piece of my wall. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, how do I sell a house with a huge chunk of... He's like, that's all I want. I'm like, all right. But no, definitely right around that 40 age is where you... and then if it happens again at 50, I'm like, God, we're going to be... This podcast is going to be amazing. But yeah, I agree. You kind of just reflect for a second, and then that's when, I kind of push this idea with the podcast with Liam. At one point, he bailed on the idea. He's like, let's do it. And then next week, he's like, no. And then I was like, no, I really want to do it. I'm like, let's hang out. And it's been a blast.
I chose the right thing.
You enjoy podcasting?
Yeah, of course.
This thing is so much fun, and I'm glad that you're here. So it's always funny because I'm like, Liam, can I come over and podcast? He's like, no. But yeah, it's interesting to be able to kind of self-reflect on that a little bit. So I've like actively started like figuring out when I can cut down on some of the jobs. So that'll be interesting. And then I'll be over all week, every weekend, me and David hanging out.
I wasn't aware of
How you
that.
feel
I
about
guess
that,
I'll
Mom?
have to clear my schedule.
Right? Oh, no, don't worry about it. I'll just come over.
I would definitely be one to recommend that, not working too much.
I know.
Life is too short.
It really is. Like, and it's, because we got this.
He quits tomorrow.
Right. Oh, I wish. Because we got the 3-year-old, so it's kind of interesting to, like, I get like a second bite at that apple. Liam is just like crazy for this 3-year-old. So yeah, just reflecting is just like just reflecting on like all the stuff that I missed out on. Let's try to get some of it back, and that's kind of what hopefully this podcast is a little bit. Is just to get me and him talking a little bit more, sharing some of my stories and stuff, and then getting the.
Say hi.
Hi.
Tell
Oh,
him who
that's
you
so
are.
awesome. Hey, Brayden. He's a little shy. Who is that, Liam?
That's my brother, Braden. Well, I wanted him to introduce himself.
16 episodes. He's like, yep, brother.
Braden, come introduce yourself. Okay.
Do you think, what are you going to do when he's like 3 years from now, he's going to be like, I want a podcast too. You guys going to do podcast together?
Sure.
All right. Hey, you want to do a podcast with your brother at home? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, what are you guys going to talk about? You like wrestling, don't you? Who's your favorite? Come here. Get on your brother's mic. I'm going to chit chat with you for a minute. I'm the scary, like, other dad guy. Like, oh, that's so weird. I don't have a name for this. He has no name for me. Because you will be stepdad, dad, husband, and then you and me are just best friends. And then me and Brayden are just, like, weird guy.
So who's your favorite wrestler?
Who's your favorite wrestler today? John Cena?
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio? The 319?
That's
619. Man, I used to know that. The 619? Who else do you like? Who don't you like?
Roman Reigns.
You don't like Roman Reigns? I don't like Roman Reigns either.
Okay. You know what? We're ending this. I quit podcasting.
Whimsy. This game.
Braden likes the American Nightmare.
Who's that? I haven't watched
Cody
him.
Rhodes.
Man, that guy. We're getting all over the place. We're all on track, but we're still on David. You like wrestling?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you?
Who'd you meet?
I was probably more as a kid, and then in the 90s, and then now it's vicariously through my children.
So who? I want to talk about this story. You met somebody. Who'd you meet?
In the 80s, I met Sergeant Slaughter, and my picture was taken for a local newspaper. But
We have another. Talk more about that.
So I used to go. My sister used to take me to wrestling events at high schools. My other sister, so I have 2 older sisters, and my older sister Carol would always taunt me and inform me that it was fake. She liked to crush my dreams as a child. And then when I went to see them at local, like, high schools, I came to the realization that she wasn't lying about it being fake, because I realized they weren't actually hitting each other. But I'm okay with that. I call, to me, wrestling is like it's like a guy's and women like it too, but it's like a soap opera,
Yeah, but the
Kinda.
women like it for a completely different reason.
Correct.
They're like, look
Correct.
at that schlub and look at that man. Yeah.
Correct. That's what I'm trying to work on. My end goal is
Adam Levine.
Adam Levine. That's my end body type. My wife doesn't really care though, but that's my end body type.
What's interesting is it is.
We'll wait for that when we get on when we go on YouTube and there's video.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll show you my abs. They're not there yet though.
I used to have abs.
Okay.
I wish.
So I have.
You're all over the place.
I know. I want there to be another subject that I didn't talk to you about. I'm sorry. Again, that's what happens when I don't call my dad.
Are we still? Is it wrestling related?
Yes, it's sports.
Is it WWE wrestling related?
No, keep going.
All right. So you were big in the Attitude Era.
Correct, but I would say that I was more pro WCW. I was more NWO.
Whoa. All right, hold on. I'm keeping a little
But
tally
but
here.
obviously I like DX too. You know.
All right, so
Shawn
that's
Michaels was
one little check against our best friendness. I'm gonna keep a tally to see if it's kind of like a dating profile to be like, all right, let's see if I'm swiping left or right. I don't even know what that
This
means.
is starting to get a little weird.
I know. That's what we do. So I met Sergeant Slaughter too when I was at work.
Really?
Yeah, I shook his hand and said hi. Whatever. See, I have cool wrestling-ish stories. But yeah, it is interesting because and it's not so much like real fake, like
Some of like we
like there's some real hard, but you do have to give props to the wrestlers because they do put in a lot of work. They're working
heck
like
yeah.
300 days a year, and even though some of the hits are pulled or like.
but watching them
or
on
its
TV,
outcome
watching
is-
them on TV sometimes, like you see like the kick hit their face.
Yeah, you can't fake
Yeah.
flying off a 20-foot cage.
Yeah.
You can't
yeah,
really fake that.
McFoley, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, like
Crazy stuff.
So it's faking that it's predetermined, but there is definitely an athleticism
Oh yeah,
about it.
They're
That's
athletes,
crazy.
For sure. Yep.
I couldn't do any of
Agreed.
it.
The old school stuff was more of the like
Oh, like your Hogans
yes,
and your
and
your
Hogan
80s.
was my guy back then. So
All right.
I will admit that. So
I dabbled a little bit in the late 80s, but I got real big into it with Stone Cold. And then just all the way through the Attitude Era. Like those are my jams. And then I just fell off after The Rock left and after basically I stopped watching after they merged.
that's when I stopped watching too.
Yeah, there was just so much going on, and then it's just like now you're bringing all these other guys, and I'm like, I don't know. Some of these
Yeah,
other
the
guys.
NWO stuff got really diluted and just.
That's
over
when
the-
that's when my mom started watching a lot of it with Cena, Carlito, Edge, Batista. That was her era.
She did enjoy some Batista. Yeah.
She still has her tote, her Batista tote.
All right, Liam, your other topic. We're leaving WWE, and where are we going next?
Sports. So, what are
Sports.
your three main sports teams that you love?
The three main sports teams I love are the New York Giants, the New York Yankees, and the New Jersey Devils. Now, obviously, there also is the Brooklyn Nets, but
Yeah, we don't- yeah.
yeah, they suck.
So,
Or they're not good.
I
I'm
really
sorry.
wanted to talk about this one story that you have with the Devils.
So
You know what story I'm talking
yes,
about, right?
I do know the story. It's a famous story that I've told many times. So I was in 1995. I was the Devils won their first Stanley Cup, and a little background on the Devils is they were once the worst hockey organization in the history of the NHL. They were originally the Kansas City Scouts, then they were the Colorado Rockies, and then they went to New Jersey in 1982. So the name New Jersey Devils obviously is based on the fable, I guess, of the New Jersey Devil. We won't get into that today. That's for another time.
Do you believe in the New Jersey Devil?
Probably not. I think he was probably just some inbred kid that lived in the woods and came out every
Right.
once in a while.
Well, it's
some
funny-
feral child.
What's funny is like the Tom Steve Dave guys. They love the cryptids.
They
and-
talked about it for like a while, right?
right. Well, and like I can stand behind Bigfoot, Nessie, but then like the Jersey Devil, I'm like, I'm like, come on. I'm like, I can't do that one. I'll give you Sasquatch. I'll give you a sea monster. I can't give you this weird
Yeah, I think
trench
there's
coat
one
wearing
for like
flying.
every state. You know, like
Yeah.
there's the Mothman, and you know,
Yeah.
all. So I'm going to branch off here, but a funny story related to the New Jersey Devils. There used to be some show that people would be chasing these things or looking for them, and they documented it. I don't know what the show was, and I don't know why I watched it because it's not really my thing. But one night I was watching one of these shows about these people chasing a New Jersey Devil. And as I was watching it, I realized that my cousin was one of the people that was on the show and looking for him. And it was pretty funny because my uncle was pretty much mortified as to, that he was on the show. And, hopefully he'd never, I don't think he will. But
like small world, man.
it's pretty funny. Yeah, it was pretty funny. I was
Well,
like, no way.
Like speaking of quick small world, right? I work with a girl at work, Trinity. She's like, she was messaged me the other day, and she's like, "Hey, I'm listening to the episode. I was on Instagram, and I see that you know this person." And I'm like, "Yeah, Brandy was girlfriend like 25 years ago." And she's like, "That's my aunt's old best friend." And I was like, small world. I never met her when I was in that back then. She was like just a baby, but it was just funny that I had like me and Trinity completely separate, and then out of nowhere, because of this podcast, I now realize that I'm like 2 degrees to this. Like, it's so funny this like how
The 5 degrees of chasing whimsy.
right.
So back to the story with the Devils.
Okay, so the Devils win the Stanley Cup in New Jersey at the time. I didn't have a lot of friends that were Devils fans. Mostly everybody was Ranger and Islander fans because they were more deep-rooted in the area, but whatever. So I get this phone call Saturday morning, and I had been, this was 95. This was deep into my partying days. So it was Saturday morning. So obviously the day before Saturday is Friday, and Friday nights I was definitely out late and over consuming. So anyway, I get this phone call. I'm feeling a little groggy, and I'm told that the Stanley Cup is going to be at this girl's house. Her aunt worked for the Devils, and she was going to have the cup at this quaint house in the suburbs. And I couldn't tell anybody, but obviously I was going to go over there and hang out with the Stanley Cup. So pretty cool.
You've touched the Stanley Cup.
I touched it. By the end of the night, it was whatever. We had a good time.
Very
Me and
nice.
Lord Stanley's Cup. Yeah.
All right.
So, and I drank Don Perignon out of it. Actually, don't remember what it tasted like, but I did.
Very cool.
It's pretty heavy. I hoisted it over my head, and I was, a little smaller then, so it was
Oh, that's a shame. Back in
Yeah,
like
it's
what you
pretty
said,
cool.
95.
95.
So there's nobody had cameras anywhere.
There
like,
are pictures, though. Believe it or
very
not.
nice,
Yeah.
disposable. Like,
They were like developed. Yeah.
All right, very cool.
Not Polaroids. They were developed. I still have some. I carried one in my wallet, but it's a little tattered at this point. It's not there anymore. But anyway, one of the things, a funny story about that, is she told me that I can tell 2 of my friends. But I had to keep this on the down low. They didn't want like complete chaos. in
Right.
it. So I tell one friend, and he basically just said no, he didn't believe me, and he didn't go. So I'm sure he regrets that to this day. And then the other friend was a guy that I had been friends with for a long time, but I didn't really hang outside of the hockey world. So I played a lot of hockey too. So I call him up and I tell him, you got to come to this house. I'm not going to tell you why, because I wanted him to be surprised, and I would, that way he doesn't tell anybody either, because I'm not compromising my time with the cup. So he was very hesitant and very confused as to me telling him to come by. So he's like, okay, and he actually did, and it was a split level house. So he came, and the cup was on a coffee table in their living room.
Right.
It's pretty funny. But he came up the steps and looked at it, and didn't believe it. He's like, that's not really.
that,
Yeah.
that's
So it was an amazing thing, like hockey's probably not the most popular of the 4
But hey,
major
it's so
sports,
fun
but
to
the
watch.
Stanley Cup is probably the most recognized, in my opinion, of all the trophies between hockey, basketball, baseball.
I
and
say, I
football.
don't think there's a name for any of the other ones, are there?
There are. I'm not sure what the Commissioner's Trophy, I think, for baseball, the Lombardi Trophy in football.
I think it's the Hank Aaron Award. No,
Yeah,
that's,
but the Lombardi is
it's believe it or not, it's called the Lombardi Trophy.
right. But isn't that given to just an individual?
No, it's this.
That's the actual football
yeah,
one?
Yeah, I don't know what. I don't
Oh,
know what-
Heisman was the one I was thinking
Yeah, I
of.
don't know what the NBA one. I don't think that one actually has.
Bill Russell.
Are you sure?
Now,
Don't be throwing stuff out
Now,
there if
here's-
you're not sure about it. You got look it up.
oh no, that's what he does. He just, dude, this guy just shoots from the hip. He just starts
Bill
throwing stuff
Russell.
out
That's
there.
the Bill Russell Trophy.
Right?
That's the Bill Russell Trophy.
So
He's a
thanks a
good
lot
player.
because this kid talks about sports, and I know nothing about sports, and he's dropping names, and he's just dropping.
What's your
like,
favorite story with the Moneyball movie?
Oh my god! Like he's real big into baseball, and then I'm big into movies and film and TV. So Liam and I like I'll see a movie and I'm like, I think Liam would enjoy this, and I'm just trying to expand his horizons on movies. So I'm like, let's look at this movie about Moneyball. I'm like, it's baseball-ish related. I'm like, I don't know.
Sure.
And then he starts watching it, and he sees names. Who was there? There was Giambi, and he's just like naming all these people, and he's like, yeah, and he's giving me stats. He's like, here's how long he's played, here's his batting average, and he's just going hard on all these stats. It's like, and he was into it because Moneyball is just stats and players. Because personally, I can't watch the game.
The end of the movie was against Jeter. It was against.
Yeah. It's super interesting to see like the two worlds collide.
Yeah, sure.
Because I enjoy the movie and he would enjoy the movie, but now he experienced it on a whole other level where he's just like, I know all these people, and it's like, and it was like, I'm sitting there and just watching him and I'm like, just amazed. Like he can't remember to call me, but this guy will tell you everything about stats.
He does know a lot about baseball.
He loves
I like
it.
to say that I have an influence on that. So Moneyball, it's interesting. They go at the whole premise is that the A's used analytics as a way to compete, and that's actually what in my opinion, has ruined the Yankees, because the Yankees have followed with that, and I'm not a big fan.
We're not the Oakland A's. We're the Yankees.
Funny
we have the
story.
biggest payroll, like one of the biggest payrolls in
When
baseball.
it comes to me and Liam, when me and Liam first met, Liam was a Diamondbacks fan, and I said, "Hey, man, if you root for the Yankees, I'll root for the Diamondbacks. We'll. And he told me no way, so he wasn't going to do that at all. And obviously now
you just completely bailed on him.
yeah, now he is a huge Yankees fan. He's a Devils fan. He's a Brooklyn Nets fan. Loosely, because they haven't. But unfortunately for him,
That playoff,
the
that
Yankees
playoff
have
season?
really let him down since he's been a fan.
That playoff series with the Brooklyn Nets and the Bucks, like that.
Durant on the toe in the line for the 3-pointer.
That was the most.
When's the last time they won the World Series?
The Nets have never won an NBA championship. The Yankees last won the World Series in 2009.
August. So,
So
was I
since
knew,
Liam's been I mean, I know sports has superstition. So statistically, since Liam's been born, the Yankees have not done good.
Yeah,
So I'm assuming Liam's the problem.
Could be Liam's
I mean, you can't argue facts,
New York Yankees AL after Liam.
right? So fact, they have not won since Liam's been born. That's all I'm saying.
He has not experienced the championship.
He's
team.
not
He's
allowed-
gonna this year with the Devils though. It's
Very nice.
happening.
Oh, how are they doing this year?
They are looking really good.
the season hasn't started yet.
They've been very smart about. They've been struggling for quite a long time, and hockey's one of those sports where draft picks have a better chance of making it, and the Devils have amassed a roster full of young, I guess we'll call them studs, guys under 25 that are legit, and they are going to be. They're going to be a force this year. So we're excited about that. Braden is too. Braden is
So
So you're real big into the sports.
so football, right?
Football started 2 weeks ago.
We do fantasy football.
Yeah, I saw that request for that app.
Yeah. So
I asked Liam, I'm like, hey, can I play too? He's like, no, you won't get it.
there's a lot going on.
so we.
I'm like, I can't just pick people. He's
Nah,
like, you're gonna ruin the sanctity of our game.
Yeah.
He's like, and it's not so much like he can't play in our club. He's just like, you're a mess. You have no idea what you're gonna ruin it for all of us.
Yeah,
So-
because it would be like everybody, whoever played you that week
Right.
would get an automatic win. You know
Right.
what I mean? So,
Or
your guy,
I win the
there's
whole
not guys
thing.
in the line. No,
Right.
that's probably not going to happen.
Oh,
You never know.
he gets competitive with this.
No, so what happens sometimes with somebody new is just the fact. The only problem is anybody could do
Right.
it. It's just a matter of taking it seriously. So
Oh, yeah, I
sometimes
can't do that.
people, like they don't update their lineups, and
Right.
then they got the guy that's been hurt for 3 weeks is still starting, and that is the thing that people would be annoyed about.
Were you real big on the fantasy football thing? The big
not-
blow up
it-
was it 10 years ago or so?
No, I probably got into it
5 years ago.
Yeah, about 5 years. About 5 years.
So with fantasy football, you do have a team that you like, the Giants. I don't know if they've been really good. So when did they win the Super Bowl?
The last Super Bowl for the Giants was 2012 maybe.
Oh, I was alive for that.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Giants are interesting because they don't really make the playoffs. The only time they do, they win the Super Bowl.
So
They're all or none type of guy.
that's
So, talking about the
it's
Super Bowl,
interesting.
I think
Although last year they did. They
we
made
did
the
something
playoffs.
around, what was it, episode 12, I want to say?
Oh no, it was early on.
Anyways, though, we did this. We want your predictions for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Who's gonna be in it for both things, and who's gonna win it? And we need score.
Oh, we can say score.
All right,
Yeah, I
let's
said
see.
score. I predicted score.
So let me think about this for a second. I'm kind of leaning in the AFC. It's not very original, but it's probably going to be the Chiefs. Chiefs don't have a lot of receivers, but I'm sure they're going to make a trade by the end of the year. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in the AFC, and the NFC's tough. The NFC's tough because I would say the Cowboys, Eagles, and Niners are the top teams. Cowboys just this week had a significant injury in their secondary, probably the best, one of the best defensive players in the league is done for the year. So that's going to take a major, and their offense isn't great. Each of those teams has some question marks. So I would have to say, man, it's not very original, but I would say probably the Eagles and the Chiefs are going to be in the
Again?
Super
Who did
Bowl
I
again.
say? Oh, both of them.
The same two teams.
Has that ever happened?
Boy.
So I know
don't
the
think
Bills
so.
went 3 in a row, and they lost 3 in a row.
They went 4 in a row.
4 in a
and
row.
lost them all. Yeah. I had a friend that was a Bills fan, and they lost all 4. And the score, I'm going to go with 24-17, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs again.
24-17.
I think
don't
I
like
said.
the
I think
Eagles.
I know I had the Ravens winning, but I think I was like the Saints and Ravens.
Right, Liam. It was funny because Liam, I forget what score you predicted, but you gave some god awful number, and I was like, "How do you even get that?" I'm like, "So we're hoping for 2 field goals, a
said-
safety."
Yeah, you want to have it like
said
a
20
logistically
I said 23-4. and
possible number combination. What was it?
23-4.
Okay.
I'm like, "Yes,
Yeah.
beautiful game, 2
Yeah,
safeties."
that
Like,
would be- yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But you never know.
I enjoy. I casual footballer. I don't care. I'm more on the gambling side. Like,
Yep.
I'll watch it, have a good time, but you want to put some money on it? I don't even care. I'm like, I'll take the over under. I'll take the who's up. I'll just play whatever. It was funny because when we were trying to schedule this, Katie's like, we need to do this on a Saturday or soon because football's happening, and then you're dead to me on Sundays.
That is true, and I'm very lucky that Katie puts up with me on pretty much the whole week because there's football on Sunday, there's a Monday game, there's a Thursday game, then there's waiver day. So waivers go at midnight on Tuesday, and I am known to be up at midnight. So it doesn't matter if I'm working the next day or anything. I will wait to see what goes through. Then I make moves. I've had people. This happened recently where I got contacted by someone that was like, "What are you still doing up?" So some people probably think, I make a lot of moves. One of my leagues, I've won 2 straight years. I don't
nice.
even know the people in the league. I know this guy I used to work with a couple of years. Is a really good guy. He invited me in the league. They don't even know who I am. I just come in and win.
You just come in, and
come
you
in
guys,
and
they play for money, right?
Yeah, it's
Like
just,
a small entry fee, and
yeah,
then just,
it's usually like 25. It's not a lot of money, $25. So
Yeah,
I'm in
it's-
3 different leagues.
it's never about
So
the money. It's
yeah.
all about the wins.
Correct.
It's all about the W's, guys.
That's really it. Really, that is for
Right?
me.
You come back-
I am very competitive, as my wife would probably agree. I spend a lot of time on it, but I'm actually I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm in
Yeah.
3 leagues. In 2 of the leagues, I'm in first place, and one of them I'm actually not the one I've won 2 straight years. I've had some injuries, so.
So last week we went against each other and he didn't talk to me for the whole week. So
Well, I actually did give him some tips.
you're like,
did.
I'm gonna
here
give
to
you this
pick up.
guy, but you're gonna still get smoked.
Yeah, he did. He did. That's all right though. He's still coming, he's coming around.
So you do the research. You're online and you're checking.
So,
like
yeah, a lot of it's kind of almost, you could almost call it it's kind of about numbers.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll look at a guy, like there's a guy, his name is Puka Nakua. And I actually picked him up on all 3 of my teams, and I don't really know how that happened. But so the first game in the season, the Rams have a wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, who's been out, and he's really good. He's 30, though, and for a receiver, 30 is, you're crossing the threshold. But anyway, so he was out, and after week 1, Puka really lit it up. But you have to be careful when you see someone get a lot of numbers, because sometimes it might just be that they were being covered by a receiver being covered by a guy that isn't very good, or somebody was hurt. So they got a lot of points because they caught a couple of touchdowns, or they caught a long touchdown pass.
right. So,
you
the
want
fluke move.
Yes,
plays. Yeah.
You want to pick up a person like a receiver that. So Puka that first week was thrown at 15 times and he caught 10 passes. So to me, I'm like, well, the quarterback definitely likes this guy,
Right.
And he's open a lot, so it's not a fluke. And then so I grabbed him, and then last week he was thrown at. He caught 15 passes, and so he in the first 2 weeks he's caught 25 passes as a rookie. It's never happened
Right.
in the NFL. That doesn't mean that he's going to keep doing that.
Right, but he's
but
good.
so far
he's
it
good
looks
enough
like
for
it's
that?
a good pickup.
All right,
So
nice.
so we'll see. So that's kind of how I make my moves. It's more based on the numbers of it. Sometimes a guy's good, and sometimes you pick somebody up that started out slow, but they're going to come around, or But it makes it interesting.
That's me
It's
with-
very frustrating too, though,
Yeah.
because you may think you got it all figured out, and then you're halfway into the first set of games,
Right.
and nobody's doing anything.
That was that one guy. Remember that party we had? He was like, "I'm gonna smoke you."
Yes.
When you guys were like both.
Yeah, and I beat him. So
Does Katie fantasy with you guys?
She
We
does
did
not.
once.
She did 2 years. We did it for 2 years. We had a little family thing.
It was one.
She's
it was
only-
one.
she's
yeah.
hustling you guys.
It was 2.
She got beat.
She's
though.
the most competitive person I know.
She got beat though.
Most competitive person I know.
She beat me, but she got beat by him.
Yeah.
Um,
You ever play video games with your mom?
Oh yeah, we play Fortnite.
She's pretty good at Fortnite, actually.
She's good at
She's pretty
Fortnite.
good,
We
yeah.
played what was that stupid game back in the day? StarCraft.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm like, hey baby, check out how good I am. I'm like, blink, 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 and she's just
Careful
like,
there. Careful.
she's just like,
Careful.
that was a
Careful.
while ago.
Careful.
But she was like,
Careful.
and then she would just like 96%, 98%, and I'm like, well, I clearly don't know what I'm doing, and she's like, oh, you're playing on medium still, and I'm like, I was like, all right, never mind.
We play card games and like I get good at them sometimes, and then she starts getting competitive, a little. We're not like there all the way yet though. She's
Am I competitive?
oh yeah, but the Battleship
Oh yeah. Okay, I guess I am. You give me
and Pokemon, like you're like nah.
Yeah,
you don't get to use this deck. You get to use the
back
low.
me into a corner, I'll get crazy. All right. What's the next topic you want to talk about, Liam?
You have some topics. That was the only one I wanted to
All right.
talk about.
All right. Going back childhood. What are your favorite movies growing up?
Oh.
I'm big on the pop culture.
So I actually started watching, and I actually did the math, and I didn't realize it, but I was I was born in '71, and one of my favorite movies as a kid was Friday the 13th. I seen it in the movies, or saw it, or whatever, saw. So I liked a lot of horror movies since I was a young child. So
You still like the horror?
I do,
You
but
like
I'm more
sleeping
of a,
through the
a-
horror,
a-
right, Mom?
A connoisseur when it comes to horror movies now. I like horror movies with decent acting.
Right.
So like the last remake of Evil Dead, I really enjoyed that one. It was 2013. It's an older movie, but there's a few here and there that I find that are pretty good. I'm not really, I'll still watch slasher films and stuff.
Are you big on
but
the slasher? Do you like the?
I used to be.
Okay.
I've gravitated away from the hokey stuff to more
Hardcore.
substance. Not really. It doesn't have to be hardcore gory or anything.
Yeah.
It's more like I want a good plot and some,
Right.
you know,
That one movie we watched though with the family, that was not.
that was-
there was no plot.
with the
in that.
family.
With the girl in the hole in the
That
wall.
was all right though. That was
No, I
okay.
don't-
It was all right.
Liam's
all
funny
right.
because he Liam's like
That was the Cobweb movie, right, or something like
Cobweb,
that.
yeah, it was terrible.
Liam's
was-
like
it was-
I love horror movies. I'm like I don't know, man. I'm like it's already questionable. Like some of the movies I'll let him watch, and then slash I'll show him some scenes and have to fast forward some of other stuff.
Sure.
And then it's like he's like I can handle it, and I'm like all right. So we're
I handled the last week. I did it well. I just watched puppy videos before bed.
So yeah, me and Liam were watching. I fell down this rabbit hole on YouTube where I just watch like terrifying, like the dark,
real-
the
like-
dark side of the internet, or like
You're
Reddit.
Are you
Reddit.
watching snuff films with Liam?
no, just like
Reddit. There's this like website where they post stuff, and it's like theories that are usually not real all the time, but he makes you like think, and like we made this joke where it's like I watch America's Funniest Home Videos every night.
yeah. It's like we were going to bed because we were watching it, and it's like they're like 20-minute videos, but they're like the last pictures before disappearance, and then
Yeah, that's cool.
so I fall down that
Yeah.
rabbit hole, and
Those
then
are fun though.
They are fun, but
Yeah.
then like it was funny because Liam and I were going to bed, and I'm like, yeah, we always watch puppy videos before bed, and I'm like,
I thought I heard him lock the door, and I'm like,
I always sleep with the light on. Yeah. So you don't like the campy stuff?
Sometimes.
How do you feel about the Chucky franchise?
oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, it is.
Yeah, it's not really my thing.
Oh, they have the season
I
3
did
coming
like,
out.
I always thought Meg Tilly was
Yeah.
a great actress.
Yes.
Yeah, she was a wonderful actress.
I watched.
I just said she was a wonderful actress. She was his bride. She was Chucky's bride. She was in a couple other movies too, though.
Yeah.
There was a movie with, I can't remember the name of the movie. It was a remake of The Getaway, I think. She was in, and it was great. There was a great scene with her and I can't remember the guy's name. I think he died, but her husband was like this veterinarian, and this other dude had them like kidnapped, and he pretty much ridiculed the vet guy and was with Meg Tilly in front of the vet guy. I think it was called The Getaway. It was with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger. It was
Okay.
a remake. Good movie though.
Because I recently fell in love again with because I watched Chucky growing up, so mainly the first 3 were obviously the best.
Yeah.
And then they got real campy.
Yeah, sure. Their first ones were good though. I'll agree with that.
But then because I work at home and I work overnights, I'll put my buds in and I've watched all of the internet, so I'm watching everything, and I fell on Chucky season 1, and they made a series out of it.
Oh.
And it is
Terrible.
It is the dumbest thing you will ever watch. It is campy, but it's Chucky. And what I like about the horror genre, is they're unapologetic. They'll just do
sure.
whatever it is.
Yep.
Like with the Chucky franchise, they got to a point where there's like their fans are like, yeah, give us more of the ridiculous. And I showed Liam a couple of clips of this series, and they're, Chucky, the little doll, jumps on your back, and there's this scene where the girl is holding him on her neck and just running around screaming, and you see his feet kicking and everything, and
that's great.
you're like, this is the dumbest thing in the world, but there's something just charming about.
Yeah, sure. If there's horror that's funny,
Right.
almost. I guess I would say for me, horror movies, it's about maybe production value, and I don't mean like the financing put into it. I mean like the effort put into
Yes.
the quality of it.
Because
I've watched a lot of movies in my life, so and I would definitely say at one point I was more of a connoisseur. I don't really have that time anymore to be a movie connoisseur as much, but that's what it comes down to. I'm not like slasher films. I love all the Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre stuff. There was a recent one that was on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
That was I really liked it. A lot of people didn't, but that was a gore fest. The
Right.
scene in the bus where he
Yeah.
just mutilated everybody, and that was a good movie. I like that one though. So
So you like the stuff? Peele, Jordan Peele.
yeah, those are good. Yeah,
And like kind of what you're saying is there's not a lot of like budget wise.
Yeah.
But story.
yeah, it's
phenomenal.
it's new. It's
That's like us
like
with video games.
Yeah.
it's his stories are creative. Like Get Out was great.
Right, and it's
you know?
he's basically reinventing like part
Stephen
of like that
King's.
subgenre
Yeah,
of horror.
sure, yeah.
I haven't seen Us yet. That
I
one looked
saw
a little
Us.
creepy.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was okay.
But I like
M. Night Shyamalan's another one.
Yeah.
Because his is, I wouldn't say are all like really horror as much. He's more like an Alfred Hitchcock kind of guy.
I do like the Hitchcock.
See,
but,
with me in horror movies, it can't be like real. Like
Right. So, what was that movie? What was the plot of that movie that you watched?
some blind. So some deaf girl had some guy in a mask breaking into her house to, I don't know.
She was deaf and mute,
Okay.
and she lives in the woods.
Was it called like Helen Killer?
I
Oh,
love
I
it.
just made that up. Thank you.
Oh, that's
Thank you
genius.
guys.
I
Thank
love
you.
it. We'll
I'll
be
be
here all week.
night. Yeah.
We're best
no.
friends. But yeah, this woman's in the house and in the woods because I guess if you're deaf and mute, you should probably live in the woods.
Makes sense. Makes
Um,
sense.
But there's a guy like kills the neighbor and then sneaks over to her house, and he just like walks around her house that has 100 windows, and Liam's all into it for a minute, and like it's just this guy just tormenting her, just trying to break in.
Sure.
And she's running around and she's trying to get help and everything else, and Liam's like, "Oh, this is fun and interesting," and he watches it. And then 2 days later, I get a phone call that says, "What did Liam watch this weekend? Because he's been sleeping with us for 2 days."
Well, no. So that night was like crazy for me because like it was super windy and like rainy that night, and I thought someone was pulling on the door, but it was just the wind. So I was all freaked out. I remember I was like 8 or like 9, and
Right.
I was like gonna text my mom, "I love you."
And it's funny because like we try to watch movies now, and I'm like, "Can you watch this?" He's like, "Yes, as long as I know it couldn't happen, I'm fine with it."
So like the Chucky movies, I'm fine with like
Yeah.
the.
So the
all
ones that could happen, that's my wheelhouse. That's
Oh,
what I want.
okay.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
Well,
Those are the
I'm
ones
like
where-
I'm like opening up a little bit. I'm starting to listen to Dateline with my mom, and the last week when we watched the YouTube, I was fine. I just had to think about happy stuff.
right.
We watch a lot of Dateline, and I always have little concerns because my wife has a little notebook that she takes notes on
Oh.
when we watch Dateline.
Oh,
yeah,
she knows how to get away
yeah,
with it.
She does.
Yep.
So, yeah, she takes notes. I'm like, what are you doing over there? No, nothing. Stuff in the notebook under the
Right.
whatever. Okay.
She's like always cutting her nails and stuff. So
Yeah, she's big on DNA. She does not want to leave her DNA
Right.
anywhere. So, but yeah, Liam's bedroom at our house has a big window in the front, and he would be terrified. There's times when I went outside, and I, it's funny, like my inner, self or whatever. He tells me, and I'm like hoping that I'll find somebody. I don't know what I'm going to do with him, but I'm running out and looking for somebody. Somebody's knocking on my window, or I don't know what goes on in his head. But those things have, he's evolved past those things.
When we scared each other that one night.
Yes, so,
So-
this was in the very early stages of us. Would you like to tell that story?
You tell it better.
So I came, and I'm not even really sure why I came out into the kitchen area. And in the kitchen area, if you look down, there's a long hallway where Liam's room's at. And I woke up, I came out into the kitchen area. I must have been half asleep, and Liam did it. It was like the perfect storm for both of us. And we both saw each other, and at that instant, we both screamed. We both totally screamed. I don't know. I'm not, and it was pretty funny. And he, so I had to console him, but I'm thankfully there was nothing on. It wasn't recorded, although now it's out. So,
it's out there.
yeah.
Yeah. What they're trying to hide was that was last week.
So I was because there's this Leatherface game coming out, and I did a little YouTube video, and it's like it was the original
Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yes. It wasn't like scary. It was just more like ew, they're freaks almost.
Yeah, they were.
When they were
freaks.
eating at the dinner table.
Yeah, it's
and
a great.
stuff.
The original is still creepy. You know, sometimes those old horror movies are kind of like you know, like The Exorcist. It's like it's not.
Well,
really scary
he
anymore.
loves the old ones.
Some of the old ones are good. Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was definitely a creepy because it was like done in a way that, like you said, could be real. This could be really this family that and you're screwed if you end up at that house and you're done.
Well,
you know?
when I'm
and
talking
you're gonna
about,
get mutilated.
When I'm talking old, he's 30 years before that.
Like I want because I'm real big into
like
film.
the old Dracula movies and
All
stuff
the black
like
and
that.
white.
He watched.
Yeah.
He showed me this one, the Abbott guy in the.
Abbott and
Costello,
yes.
Abbott.
He showed me the one. He's on first.
Who's on first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He showed me that, and then
it's pretty funny. It's still funny.
and then he showed me the movie with Frankenstein, Dracula.
Yeah, those are
Mummy.
great. That was a great movie.
There's
Yeah, I watched all that
There's
stuff.
something
I
really
enjoy-
harming about
Yeah,
those old,
sure.
and it's interesting because you watch them and like they're bad, but there's something really charming about them, and you can kind of see like how they've influenced even film
Yeah,
today.
sure. Yeah,
So-
like it's almost like like those things. Like I took a cinematography class.
Oh, very cool.
And they referenced like like the evolution of movies and
Right.
how and I agree. When I was a kid, I watched them with my dad. All those old Abbott and Costello
Right.
movies and. Abbott and Costello Meet the Werewolf, and like the one you're talking
Right.
about was basically all of them together,
Right.
and they were pretty funny.
Yeah, there's something really fun, and then it's like, I watch everything. I got Liam into indie film from the '90s, so like your Quentin Tarantino's,
Sure.
your Clerks. He loves the Kevin Smith stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, well,
Those are my wheelhouses. Is some of like the more like scare stuff, or definitely the Gen X stuff, like that whole indie, everything Miramax indie, like low budget stuff. So I was always really big. Liam, what's your favorite Kevin Smith movie?
Chasing Amy.
I like Chasing Amy.
Chasing Amy was a good movie.
Very cool. What kind of TV did you watch?
So, as a kid, TV-wise, I loved the Dukes of Hazzard, A-Team. They were on like Friday nights.
G.I. Joe.
No, there
More
was
the
a cartoon.
more the
G.I.
people,
Joe.
though, right?
Yeah, the figures. Yeah, like I mostly Star Wars though. A lot of Star Wars figures. I was I enjoyed Star Wars.
Oh, you were in
figures.
the original camp.
Yes, New Hope.
Yeah.
I was there for the. I went to see it in the movie theaters. The
Do you
first
still
one.
have the love for the franchise, or you kind of bailed out a little?
He loves
Yeah, I
Rogue
do.
One. He loves
I do.
Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One was probably my favorite of the newer ones. The more recent ones were pretty good. I'm one of those that does not really enjoy
watch the Shoka fight.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yep.
You know, so I know it's terrible to say, but I'm not a big fan of like goofy kind of things, and I take it seriously. And he was kind of just. It's like having, in Jurassic Park movies. They were great movies, but when you have like this small child
Right.
that's fighting off a dinosaur because she's swinging on tree, I draw the line at, come on, that's not
Right.
So like going back to wrestling,
Right.
I retired from wrestling when Rey Mysterio, and I know Braden loves Rey Mysterio, but when he beat Kevin Nash, because I'm kind of like, come on, I know this isn't real, but come on.
Right.
That would be like me, going against Liam.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I'm
unfair.
100. I'm 100-0. 100% of the times I'm gonna win.
Right.
I'm gonna win every.
I'm gonna lay the kid out every time.
Every
Every time.
single time, I'm gonna take Liam out.
Right.
And at one point, that's gonna tilt. But right now, he
Yeah, I'm gonna
knows.
remember this.
Yeah, he'll remember, and maybe we'll be here one day for that. That'll be a sad day because I'll be probably sipping out of his straw at
Yeah.
that point.
Because the whatchamacallit, Godzilla versus Kong.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I love it. All I want to see is two giant monsters punching each other in the
Sure.
face. But they always have that the A story where it was the girl from Stranger Things, and it's her and some other guy, and basically two kids,
Yeah.
and then somehow they travel halfway across the world. They sneak into the power plant, and then they
Yeah.
turn off the stupid. And it's like, it's hard because,
Is that why you don't like Stranger Things?
well, it's interesting because it's the same thing David's saying. It's like, as an adult, it's weird to watch these movies where you're like, these kids don't have a place. Like, like the kid story takes it all the way out. But from the podcasting side of things, where I'm at with JJ and Liam right now is, I like it because it gives JJ and Liam representation that
Sure.
says as
Yeah,
a kid, but you're ruining my movies.
I will say that I like Stranger Things. So, but there are certain.
Yeah.
It depends on how it's done.
Right, and
Those are done in a realistic way where they've delved into the characters and they all have their own skill
and
set.
it was built around them.
Correct,
It was
correct.
Yeah, so
the
you-
best
so-
summer of our life type story.
Yeah,
So what you're
sure.
saying
it's
is,
like
like-
Stand By Me
Yeah.
with / aliens. Or
So what
something
so
like
you're
that.
saying is like you like it when it's based around it? Is that why you like? Because they can't name it Godzilla versus King Kong, and then have these people make the story. Is that what you're saying, right?
Like it should just be King Kong beating up on Godzilla and Mega, whoever the hell it was. But it's just like when they're like, how do we, like, for whatever reason, they're like, we need more representation of kids in it. And it's like, well, who's hot right now? Oh, the Stranger Thing kids. Let's put her in the movie and we'll make her save the day. And it's like, okay, you have a place, because like, I don't know, like, is Liam watching Godzilla versus King Kong by himself? Like, does he really need that representation?
Yeah.
I get it, but at the same time, I didn't even want the story. I just want two people. I just want.
I think if I'm getting you right here, it's your complaint is the unbelievable part of these children
Right.
that are infiltrating like,
Right.
this government agency
Right.
by cutting through a fence or
Right.
something. You know, you're kind of like, come on. You know, as much as it's, you know, these monsters are, you know, sure,
Right.
there's an argument that how realistic is the
Right.
story. But I totally agree with you. It's like
for whatever
action.
reason, they're like, there are two dinosaurs killing
Yeah.
each other, and I'm like, yeah, but the kids they
Yeah.
talk themselves into a high
That's
profile.
bullshit. That's crap.
That's where I draw
Not
the line.
happening. Not happening.
You've ruined the fantasy.
I get it though. I'm totally with you on that.
But I do enjoy movies and TV where there is that kid representation, kind of like the Stranger Things. I watched season 1. I did
Yeah, it's a great
Paper
show.
Girls. That was on Amazon. But so like when it's built around the kids,
Sure. Yeah.
I get it. It's when we start putting them in just to put them in that I have the problem.
Yeah,
with.
sure.
So,
There's a show called Yellow Jackets on
Yes.
Showtime. It's a great show, and those are kids. And then the way they do that show, it's a really great show. And then they have like them 20 years later
Yeah.
as the adults. You know, so
It's like
that.
yeah.
ahead.
They did that with the Rugrats.
No, this is
That was
good.
bad.
Yeah, this isn't.
no,
This is
like
completely
it's
different
winning
from
awards. It's like
Yeah.
like one of the best shows on TV.
It's a
right
really
now.
good show. Really good show. Yellow Jackets.
What else do you watch?
Showtime.
Growing up TV. I'm trying to think.
So let me see what else I watched. You know, I watched a lot of old stuff because I was influenced by my parents. But I watched a lot of. They would show reruns of Three's Company.
Yeah.
Those were great. Jack Tripper was a legend in my opinion.
Like all the stuff you'd see on Nick at
Yeah,
Night.
I watched Saturday morning cartoons as a
Love it.
kid.
Yeah.
You know, that was a good time.
We talked about that with
and
you.
You did. You talked about the TV guide.
Yeah.
Too, you know,
Coming
lived it.
soon.
I lived that. I lived the TV guide. You know, we would get one and we would be lost if we didn't have that week's TV guide. You know, my mom had a lot of pressure on her back then for many reasons. She still does. My mom continually has pressure. That's just her life.
Awkward.
Well, not really. She just got a stressful life. So, but anyway, yeah, with TV guide, we would have to look and then you would have to figure out, like, and you guys talked about,
yeah.
if you missed the show, you missed it.
You're
you know.
waiting months.
Now, a
until-
lot of those shows were different. Well, there were certain ones that were ongoing storylines, but some of them were like standalone. Like
Yeah, yeah.
A-Team. If
Just
you missed an episode, the next week you can watch the next episode of them going to a small town.
Right.
and
Rarely was
taking
there
over,
like a
the-
two episode
Yeah,
arc of any
correct.
kind, right?
Correct.
Knight
So,
Rider and
yeah.
all those guys.
Correct.
Liam, is there anything that you watch here that you also watch over there?
Some of the Gordon Ramsay stuff.
I fell off Gordon Ramsay, and then I picked up on it when I was bored and had nothing else to watch. No Ted Lasso? You guys ever watched Ted
I
Lasso?
tried getting him into it.
No, never watched it.
They're like, soccer's not my thing, and I'm like,
No, it's not that. It just
no, that's what you said.
Well,
that's what
no,
you said.
I
Yes, that's what you said.
it doesn't. It's not really because it's soccer.
You don't like the comedy part of it.
We ate a what would you call that? We ate at one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants in Vegas,
Very nice.
and it was how much did that cost? Way more than our budget, but we did it. It wasn't even really that good. It was his English food, and it was
Yeah.
very bland. It was some. I don't know, whatever. It
His
was like
beef-
5 courses, and which
his
is
beef
cool.
Wellington is
Yeah,
some kind
the
of shepherd's
beef.
pie.
Yeah, the beef Wellington. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't really that good. So I know if I'm going to go to England, I'm not going to go there hungry,
Right.
because I don't want to eat any of their food.
I'm the pickiest eater there is. I couldn't do anything anywhere.
There's called what are they called? Pasties, I think. It's an English food. It's kind of like a hot sub. Those are
Yeah.
pretty good. I'll eat those. There's one of those in Tempe somewhere, a pasty place. Yeah, Cornish. What is it? Cornish pasties? Thank you.
Hey, pasties.
My life coach jumped in
Right.
and helped out.
Pasty. Whimsy.
Pasties.
Nope. We're still going on growing up. Let's do music.
Music. So music
Oh,
was
yeah.
I was
Because
very
we've
lucky.
got all
'cause
the things define who we are.
Yeah, sure.
Music is a big one.
very integral for me. Music-wise, my 2 older sisters, one of them was more leaned towards the Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, The Doors, and then I had my other sister was more, I guess they would call it new wave. She liked Cheap Trick and Devo,
Okay.
and bands like that. Joe Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
and then my mom, and my dad listened to my dad's
Elvis?
he listened to pretty much everything back. Listened to Elvis. Listened to old twangy country. You know about the neighbor taking his
Yeah, yeah.
wife and the dog, and you know all
The
that.
cliche. Yeah.
Totally. Hank Williams and stuff like that. But he also listened to, the Stones and Creedence. So my music taste was, I think it's pretty good. I didn't really listen to a lot of like R&B or stuff like that. It was more rock, and mainly rock. My first album I ever owned was Kiss Destroyer.
Oh, very cool.
So I actually recently bought a record player.
Very cool.
So I've been in this, my
This
I'm-
retro.
what I call it is how Dave got his groove back.
All right.
And it's more of like my midlife crisis and reconnecting
Okay.
with Mother Earth.
Are you buying
and-
old action figures? And
No, none of that.
Not yet.
No. It's more.
That's 60.
Yeah. So just I've been kind of just slowly,
top 3
accumulating.
artists on your playlist.
So right now I've been
Pearl
shuffling
Jam?
through Pearl Jam. Yeah, I've been
There you
kicking
go.
it old school with Pearl Jam.
Can we
Pearl
hit-
Jam is one of those bands that you could pretty much listen to anything
Can
on their
we-
catalog and not skip it.
Can we talk about your bucket list and who you
Oh,
saw
sure.
recently?
Yeah, thanks to my wife, we've really tore it up. My bucket list was kind of empty going into this year, and this year I got to see Bruce Springsteen in Denver.
No, keep going.
Got to see Bruce Springsteen in an undisclosed location, I guess. Apparently, I'm not allowed to use
So we know where
specific locations.
we knew where he grew
We are
up in New Jersey.
we're broadcasting from an undisclosed location right now, folks. He gave me the old like Ixnay on the Denver A.
That's too close to home.
Jeez, he just said Denver. Don't give him your plane ticket number. We flew Frontier Airlines. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Were you an aisle seat or a window seat?
It was an aisle seat. It was an aisle. Yeah, it was. Yeah, but Frontier's just. I wouldn't recommend
So
it.
you saw Bruce Springsteen.
So we saw Bruce, and then recently we saw Metallica, and we saw the first night, and it was cut short because James got COVID, And
Night 2 though.
And night 2,
They pulled through.
the boy came with me, and I had a headache that I had for multiple weeks, and it really dampened things. But I told myself, I said, "Self, I am not going to let my headache interfere with Metallica," and I actually battled through it. And it was, those guys are going to be, they're both the main guy. James and Lars are 59 years old, and they were jamming. I don't know if there's a lot of bands that could jam like they do. I don't know. Like,
Do they still put out quality music today?
Yeah, they have a new album that they actually released on vinyl too, and it's a pretty good. I think it's pretty good, and they still jam.
When they performed, it was like, wow, they're like
Yeah.
60. They did pretty
it's
good.
pretty crazy. They sound like legit. Like,
Because I fell off after Saint Anger. I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
with this.
Saint Anger was terrible.
Yeah.
Death Magnetic was okay.
Right.
But yeah, I would say that, when it comes to my Metallica preferences, obviously the old school stuff I like, but I probably really started getting into Metallica when they went mainstream with, Justice for All and One, which was obviously the first
Right.
one that was really got MTV play. And then obviously the Black Album and all those. I really love those albums.
That's so funny because you mentioned MTV. Lane will never know or ever experience an MTV. You mentioned, like, it's so funny because everybody of a certain age, Lane's missed it, is what was the first album you bought? I don't know if you'll ever have that
Yeah,
experience.
no, you're right. It's true. You're right, because now it's like everything's digital.
It's all
You're not
Spotify.
like going to Tower Records or whatever and buying it.
Right. And it's all playlists.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if you'll actually consciously buy an album because
Yeah.
you're just like, I'll just stream it. Liam and I randomly out of nowhere fell into Liam, what is it? Would it be like EDM? Alan Walker? Is he EDM? Yeah, we fell into that for a minute, and we're just like, I don't know what it was, but because I like the instrumental stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So, I was really happy with it.
That's cool. But yeah, the digital stuff, I think, in my opinion, takes away from people listening to like the deep cuts of a band.
Yeah.
I actually had a huge CD collection, and I didn't want to give up on it. So my way of not giving up on it was to one by one, every disc I downloaded into the cloud.
Okay.
And I access them. I pay $24.99 a year to access all my CDs from the cloud.
Very cool.
Even though, obviously all that stuff I can listen to anywhere, I still like the idea of being able to do that.
Right.
So I pull all that stuff up, and like my Pearl Jam that I was listening to today, it's from all the CDs that I bought. And I have that's one of the things that I don't really know if you have access to anymore. CDs and records, mainly CDs,
Right.
when you would have bootleg stuff.
Yeah. Or even like the old, a little bit before that, when you would get the two recorders and you would have to hit record and play on it. And you would
off the radio.
Right. And it's like, and it's so funny because it was bootlegging and it was quote unquote pirating and like it is now. And I like how people today will try and justify them stealing music through like Napster and whatever else. And they're like, well, you guys used to do it too. And we're like, my one cassette tape got recorded maybe 4 times, not 5,000 times.
And it took to make that mixtape. You had to do a lot of work. You had to sit around and wait for Casey Kasem to finish telling about the
how many times did you put the tape in and you have the commercials or the beginning, the intro,
you gotta
and everything
wait.
else?
So
That's so funny.
But like I was saying, like you don't get like a bootleg. There used to be this record store I went to that would sell bootleg stuff, and I have like Pearl Jam stuff. I have a Pearl Jam CD that Eddie Vedder they had a concert and he was sick, and he comes out and says, I can't play, and Neil Young shows up and plays with Pearl Jam. And I think those are things that you may not stumble on. It's out. It's not like it's not out there, but I don't know. I think those are the things we're kind of.
Well, and what's interesting is, like the artists that we see now, like they're great for today's age, for today.
Sure.
But it's interesting because it gets you thinking: will we ever see another Beatles?
Yeah,
Like they were a global phenomenon.
sure.
And like we have like your Katy Perry's and your Taylor Swift's and your Lady Gaga's, and like they have these huge followings. But it's different than the '60s when you saw the Beatles. Like people are just losing their minds.
Yeah. And you also can make the argument, is the possibilities of like a garage band, like making it big. It seems, I don't know, from what I, obviously I'm a little long in the tooth here, but I feel like rock and roll or rock music doesn't have as much of a place with kids.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's actually like I remember as a kid, like the Who, Rock is Dead, like, oh man, that's never gonna happen. And I'm kind of like,
It's like one of those things where rock only survives because your parents
Correct,
listen to it. They don't find it themselves anymore.
I had an interaction recently that kind of bothered me. Sorry.
You're helping your brother and stuff, and all of a sudden you ran out of the other room. You're just jumping on. All right, go ahead.
So, I told my class, I was like, I'm going to see Metallica, and they're like, who's that?
Oh, that hurts my heart.
It hurt me too. And then
Poor parenting.
And there was another thing where we were like, oh, so you got to remember what your classmate said, and it was like, this person likes AC/DC, and I'm like,
Oh no. Oh my God.
no, I'm not even kidding. They literally said AC/DC.
Oh, I love it.
They know who Morgan Wallen is, though. I'll bet.
I love it. All right. I think we're gonna try. We said you wanted a 2-part this.
Yeah, we gotta.
So I think we went pretty good for the first half. Now, David,
Yeah, I'm still here.
I think we're connecting. We're doing good. I think you're almost best friend
We're
status.
vibing, right? Is that what the
Sophie's
kids call
choice.
it? Vibing?
Next time there's a Metallica concert, who you taking? Me or Liam?
Oh.
Liam.
We'll see.
No. We'll see.
We'll see if
what
the answer
happens.
changes on the
We'll
second
see what
half.
happens if they come back around. I really I enjoy going to concerts. That's to me is and I have to say that I have to thank my wife for that too, because I probably throughout my life only went to like a handful. And I think concerts are a great way as an adult, as a parent, to escape for the evening.
Yeah, for sure.
And have some fun. Especially with the advent of Uber. So
Yes.
that helps too.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, because back in the day, you'd be like, maybe we have a designated driver, and then you just tailgate
You're
until
rolling the
for like
dice.
2.5 more hours.
We could probably do another episode
Yeah.
on me and the lack of a designated driver in the 90s.
Oh, man.
So, yeah.
All right, well-
Designated drunk driver. That's, whatever. That's terrible. But
Well,
it's
I thank you for hanging out today.
Thanks for having
We
me.
will be back next week or later in the week.
Thursday.
Thursday, we'll probably have it out. But thank you for hanging out. Good to have you here.
Whimsy.